Welcome back to the Frame Rate Podcast.
I was going to try to hold that for as long as I could.
I shouldn't have looked at you.
Hello. Hello.
Welcome to our post Star Wars month.
Episode. Yeah. I almost have no idea. Like coming into this, I was like, what do I even talk about?
I'm not doing Star Wars anymore.
It's liberating.
To be free from Star Wars?
Yes. I love Star Wars, but to have it consume my thoughts for an entire month. Ooh.
Turning to the dark side.
Anyways, it's May. Still Star Wars.
No. When they hear this, it won't be May anymore. Not to spoil how we do our shooting schedules, because they're always planned to be exactly the same day at the same time every week. Anyway.
I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry.
Keep trying.
Okay.
I want to hear what you were going to try.
New camera angle. Hello. Hello over there. Has that been here the entire time?
Probably.
I would know. I don't watch them.
I edit them. And every time I look at that camera, I'm like, I look awful. So I just go with the wide every time. For audio listeners, I look fleek.
I don't think I've heard fleek in like good many years.
I don't think I've ever said it verbally.
That sounded good. It sounded like that's how it was supposed to be used. I can't remember the context for it.
I look good.
Well, I know that. I just meant like
stop.
Okay.
You don't mean it. Anyway, we're getting distracted. You know what we're talking about today? You can't tell by this camera probably doesn't help, but this mug is massive. This is the only mug I use to dip cookies in milk. It's the only one it fits in. Because every other time, you have to break a cookie in half to get it to fit in the cup you're doing.
What size cookies are you eating, dude? The jumbo?
No, I mean like
I can fit most of my cookies.
My regular homemade cookies are roughly, this big around.
I would say mine are like this one. I usually can fit that in a regular size
Man,
cup that I klepto steal from restaurants.
Anyway, yeah, if you couldn't tell by what I'm holding, what are we talking about?
Karate Kid.
Karate Kid. Guess what? I haven't seen it. Well, the actual original Karate Kid I have seen, as well as Karate Kid
China
2010, 3 hour long. That's my biggest complaint with that movie. Even though I haven't seen it forever, it feels like it takes forever. No. Well.
What did you see?
Well.
The New Avengers.
Do you know what T stands for? Or what's the Frame Rate Podcast? That's what we're on right now. But it's a Marvel T. Marvelous novelty. That's what I'm coining that term right now.
That's what I was kind of thinking there for a second.
No, I went and saw Thunderbolts.
How was that? I did not watch that.
Sick segue.
No, sorry. Here.
I don't know how much that cuts off your face in camera, but
okay, I won't.
We're dipping the tea in the milk. Get it? Like a tea bag. You don't use milk. This episode's off to a fantastic and wonderful start. It's a twofer. 2 films in one episode.
Mhm.
It's more than you could have possibly asked for or dreamed of. And yet, we're stalling. Why don't you talk about Karate Kid first?
Okay.
Because that's the one I feel like I know so not very much about.
Okay, so it's the exact same storyline as the last two.
Thrilling.
Nothing changes. Except this time it has Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan in it. It's a good movie. Like, it's not my favorite.
Did you mean to pop?
No, I didn't. It's not like it's not. I said to you
What
earlier,
does that even mean?
it's not Shakespeare. Like, it's not.
Is that supposed to be like,
No,
it's supposed to represent the theater, you know, because it was like a globe?
it's not like the greatest movie I've ever seen. I think when I watched it, and I think afterwards, I told Grace that I would give it like a 6.5 or 7 out of 10.
I think nearly every Karate Kid has fallen under that
Like,
level of.
yeah, it's not like great. It's not a must see, but like, this is what I was telling Grace. The good thing, like the great thing about the Karate Kids is that they are reliably good to show to kids and your family, right? So that's I mean, that's why I liked
Did you
it.
take your newborn?
No.
So how good for the family can it be?
Okay.
You don't even know.
Show
Show it to your month-old.
She's like, but it's
Father,
good.
I've pooped my pants.
Poop on,
Hiya.
poop off.
Is that you every time you change your diaper
Uh-huh.
now?
I'm like,
Take off your jacket.
poop on, poop off. Diaper on, diaper off. It's balance. I also catch her diaper with chopsticks too, like how Jackie Chan has him do with the fly. I'm like,
I don't need that visual.
it's just a diaper. But no, it's a good movie. Like, there's not a whole lot. There's not like a single like crass or crude joke in it.
Darn.
There's
Jackie Chan and nothing?
no. I mean, it's funny. It's really funny. I couldn't tell you any of the jokes that they made. I saw it once.
You don't know Chinese?
No. Do you? Gotcha. But it's good. Like, when I say it follows the same storyline, I mean, the main character moves from Beijing to New York.
Reverse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Previous, and Jackie Chan is in New York, or
No, so Jackie Chan's in China. He's running a kung fu school. And the main character is part of the school, and his mom's like, "You're not allowed to fight." And then she moves her kid to New York. And so then they get
what
there.
part of New York?
I don't know.
I was just wondering
Queens?
if like they mention it.
They probably do. I don't think so. I don't know. They just refer to it as the Big Apple. Kid goes there. Kid falls in love with a girl. Girl has a psycho ex-boyfriend who also knows karate. Somehow, for some reason, karate's the biggest thing in New York City.
The new season of Cobra Kai just dropped, and everyone's all over it.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that show over? I never watched any of it.
I think it is. I don't know. I haven't watched. Now that I've seen this, I'm gonna go watch Cobra Kai, but I don't know.
I've only seen like
I've seen the clips on Instagram.
yeah, the cringy line deliveries. I am Cobra Kai. Like,
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh,
my favorite part of Karate Kid when General Grievous shows up. Happy post Star Wars month, people. It's never going away.
it's consumed my life. It's actually, but it's good. It takes a little bit to get started. I mean, it gets started, but in the Karate Kid, like, you're used to watching the story just be about the kid and then the training montage, right? which they do have. They do have the training montage with the music, and I actually think that those were done really well. They picked great songs, and they have like a graphic that kind of comes across the TV. Like, oh, Grace said it great the other day. I don't like it's in a certain style where it's like graffiti, but not. It's kind of for some reason it reminds me of like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like that art style, right?
Which the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have been drawn in every possible fashion.
Well, just like the colors and stuff, like because it will show like
vibrant,
Yeah.
just like street art type.
street
Was
art.
this
Yeah,
like for like transitions? Or
yeah, like it'd be like New York or round one or final round.
like it'll just like come across the screen.
yeah, and it's like a
street
smear,
art.
like
Oh,
a
okay,
smear
okay.
kind of looking thing. It's
So intelligent, creative
Yeah,
decisions.
so I thought that was really good. That was one of the things that popped out the most. That I was like, that's kind of unique. That doesn't really happen in movies, right? And each time it would
Other
do
than
it would be like a panning shot of like New York, like a helicopter shot, and it would be playing cool music. So like, it worked really well. But because this kid already knows how to fight, he doesn't know karate, but he
He's a-
knows kung fu.
is it like a karate tournament, or is he just training to beat up
It's a
this girl's
so
ex?
there-
Which
No.
maybe I'd go see that one with you. It's about this kid from China who knows kung fu, but he can't fight this guy because he doesn't know the way he fights. So he has to learn the way he fights, so he can beat him up. It's great.
No. Basically, it's really, I don't want to like go play by play, but the movie starts out with Jackie Chan narrating, and he's talking about the Miyagi family because Mr. Miyagi, everybody knows who Mr. Miyagi is. He talks about how like
Diaper on,
diaper off.
diaper off.
He talks about how like long time ago in Japan, like one of the first like Miyagis, somehow crossed the ocean between, I don't remember how they explain it, but he crosses the ocean between Japan and China, and when he lands in China, he knows karate, and he teaches and learns kung fu from the Han family, and the Han family is Jackie Chan's. So like the whole message of the story of like the movie is two branches of the same tree, right?
Yeah, it was in the marketing.
And so that's why Ralph Macchio comes in, is that he's training this dad, like who owns a pizza shop that they live above, I think. The girl that he likes, she works there, and her dad runs the pizza shop, and he owes money to the owner of the bad karate store.
Who's he?
Who?
That you're saying who owes money to who?
The dad owes money to the bad karate store owner, where the boyfriend, abusive boyfriend. Listen, if you've seen Karate Kid, it's the same story.
I get it. There's always evil karate.
He owes money, so like one of the rules that the kid has to follow that he promises his mom is that he's not going to fight karate. And so he teaches this guy how to like move quick, like kung fu, so that the guy can box and win enough money to pay off his loan. But then he gets like knocked out and can't fight. So he's going to have to sell the shop. And so then the kid, Jackie Chan, visits and is like, I'm entering you into this tournament. And the mom's like, you can't do that. And he's like, well, I did. So Jackie Chan's like trying to train him. And he's like, but I don't know karate. This is a karate tournament. And they already fight once in the movie before. And the boyfriend, like the ex-boyfriend, beats him up and just like counters all of it. And so he's like, well, you need to learn karate. So then Jackie Chan travels all the way to California. You see the original.
California.
That's where Ralph Macchio is in California. You see the original building and like parking lot that Mr. Miyagi and Daniel LaRusso are in. And he finds Ralph Macchio and he's like, come and train. And he's like, no, I'm not going to. And then it's really funny because Jackie Chan's like, all right, I will see you in New York. I'm not going. All right, we'll see you there. I know you're coming. I'm not going to go. Have a safe trip. We'll see you in a week. And then it just, so then they both train him. Like the uncle continues to train, and Ralph Macchio, like Daniel LaRusso, helps train, and they just go through a bunch of training montages. And surprise, he wins. But actually, they kind of set this one up. One thing, because like when you're watching these, if you've watched the other ones, like oh, the odds are stacked against him, and they have a signature move, and then they pull out the signature move at the last minute.
To break his leg.
Right? And so you're kind of expecting that, but this movie does a really good job at kind of hiding that, right? Where you're like, oh, this one, because you're thinking this is going to happen, you're also kind of like, well, what if they don't have it happen in this one? So anyways, it's just the Karate Kid, but updated. But it's pretty good. God, I feel like I've played enough. It's pretty good.
Nice.
It's just a genuinely good movie. I can break it down a little more, but I want to hear more about the Thunderbolts.
Let me break it down for you.
Are you sure?
Let me break it down for you, Mark. Well, the Thunderbolts. So, this movie is aided, as most Marvel projects are now, it's very aided in the viewership of like more recent films and recent TV series. If you hadn't seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and if you hadn't seen Black Widow, then a lot of character dynamics and background and all of that would be really lost to you. It'd be pretty difficult, but like, assuming, spoiler warning, by the way,
I don't feel like you need a spoiler warning.
Black Widow dies.
These shows have
In
been
Avengers
out for
Endgame.
4 years.
Well, I meant more for the Thunderbolts.
Oh,
Yeah, especially since it was just pulled from theaters. People.
that's why I couldn't watch it.
Womp womp. Anyway,
They had one showing
this
at
this
9:30.
this movie makes Yelena, Florence Pugh's character, the central character.
Good.
Obviously, there's lots of characters and lots of them have their roles, but Yelena is certainly the center point. It's all built around her. And she's working as a assassin for hire for Louise Dreyfus's character. She has such a long name that she insists on saying several times, and I can't remember it right now.
The lady from Seinfeld.
Veep. If any of you have seen Veep, the lady from Veep and Seinfeld. She's in the Marvel universe. She's the head of the CIA, and she's currently being impeached because things that she's done with these assassins have come to light, and they are certainly not okay. So, spoiler warning for Captain America Brave New World, Congressman Barnes, Bucky, is part of the impeachment committee.
That's ironic.
Well, here's the thing. He's not in Congress anymore, like halfway through the movie.
Why?
Because he decides that the things that he needs to do have to be done by him, and those things cannot be done while he's a member of Congress. Those things being
Kill people.
murder government officials.
And we're back to full circle for Bucky.
So
only this time he's got a black gun.
Yelena, it begins, she is in, what country is it? Literally, I saw this movie like barely over a week ago, and I'm forgetting so many details. But she's in an Eastern European country. I want to say Romania, but that could be very wrong. But she's there doing a job, she's at this lab. She has to recover evidence from the lab and then destroy the lab. Or no, she has to destroy the evidence that's in the lab. That's what it is. But like she needs to get into this one room that she needs facial recognition for. And she fights her way into the building as widows do. And the whole time she's kind of narrating kind of like her sob story, how like she just goes day to day, goes to work, she goes home, doesn't do anything, she goes to work, and then eventually, like through her narration and this brief montage of her fighting her way up to the lab, you see she's narrating to a guy she has tied up, bound on the floor, and she's like, "You're not even listening." But to accelerate things and to not, take up a ton of time talking about every little detail, the head scientist shows up. She goes, "You look like a face that could get into that room," because the guy she has tied up can't get into the room. And then they fight. He is just blasting, and the whole time he's saying like you don't understand this. This is too dangerous, and she's just like, this is a job, so she just needs to get it done. He's shooting at him. Eventually, she gets behind him and wraps around him and like tries to hold off the gun, and she's still being very Yelena, kind of like Spider-Man, just joking, very calm,
quippy
the whole time. And then the guy, bah! Oh, and she's like, "Oh, I needed that face." And she's like, "Oh, well." And then she leaves, and it cuts to her being outside, and she's on the phone. And she's like, "Yeah, just 1 second." And she turns around, and you see a floor of the building just explode. It's done. Walks away. But then she goes to her dad, who she hasn't seen in a year or talked to in a year. He runs this limo service.
Is that Alexi?
Yes.
The Red Guardian? Okay.
Red Guardian. It's the father. You are the father. Which, David Harbour is great. He's so funny. He does a really good job as Red Guardian. Just sometimes doesn't have the best accent in the world.
No.
Which, honestly, it's not necessarily to his fault, because lots of times Red Guardian has to be very loud, and it's really difficult to maintain stuff when you're speaking
it's hard,
very loudly like
it's
that.
hard to fake a Russian accent in general when you speak American English.
Anyway.
Oh, I think Russian accents are hard.
Kind of. But it's like maintaining
being
them
loud
at that volume. And David Harbour's natural voice is just kind of hard to cover up anyway. I can't imagine him doing like a German or anything.
No.
But Yelena visits, talks with him. He's watching old footage of him with the USSR and reminiscing of when he was great. But, Yelena shows up. He quickly turns it off, cleans up. And he tells her that maybe she needs to be more in the limelight because, like, it made him feel fulfilled and invigorated when he was the Red Guardian in Russia. And she isn't feeling fulfilled in what she's been doing in the shadows.
Right.
So right afterward, she calls Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Goodness, you say Ralph Macchio the whole time, and I have to say Julia. I can't remember. De Fontaine is the end of her name. I know that much. I'll just say Fontaine. No, because she emphasizes the duh.
Would you like me to look it up for you?
No, this is better. If it ain't funny, it ain't worth it. My life mantra. Remember that. I'm looking at both cameras at the same time right now.
Yeah.
Sesame Street.
T.
The letter of the day is T. That's my best Grover. I can do a pretty good Elmo, but we're going to stick with the Grover. Thunderbolts. Through the rest of this retelling as Elmo. So, Yelena, DeFontaine, she's in the midst of completely emptying the warehouse with all of the evidence that the impeachment committee was searching the next day. And so at the end of the phone call, you see that she's in a completely empty warehouse. It's all gone. DeFontaine tells her to go to this secret vault that they have in Utah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's southern Utah, Valley of the Gods, border of Utah and Arizona. Wide expanse of tall red rock.
Mm-hmm.
If none of you can visualize that,
Look up Cedar Breaks.
if you're the people listening to us from Bangladesh
or the United Kingdom,
or
Poland,
the United Arab Emirates
or Russia. We do have one of those.
or Kazakhstan, shout out. Shout out my homies in Kazakhstan. We talk about Thunderbolt. She goes to this vault because she's been told that someone is there and
bumping this.
is going to try to steal things from the vault. So she sneaks up, sees the person she's trying to hit.
It's Bucky.
No,
Oh,
you can't tell. You just see someone enter.
it's Taskmaster.
No, I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
Calm down.
It's Alexi.
No. She goes in. There's this like really small metal cylindrical elevator that takes you a mile down
Mm-hmm.
into the vault.
Typical vault
And
stuff.
while she's in there, she sees this stuff for this Sentry program. She thinks it looks important, so she takes it, stuffs it in her pocket, and then she starts getting shot at. And it's Walker, everybody, Walker, the guy who tried to be Captain America and then
Oh, yeah.
murdered somebody.
Didn't Captain America also murder people?
Not the way Walker did,
Well,
because he was defending himself. Walker committed a war crime.
Yeah, but the
He
Avengers.
was running away. And brutally, after he was beaten.
Well, one could say that the Avengers committed a
You
war
should
crime.
not be arguing for this.
Captain America was also part of the initiative that dropped an entire city back down on the earth.
No one was on the city when it dropped.
Tell that to
They
Zemo.
evacuated it.
Tell that to Zemo.
That happened while it was being raised. Remember the evacuation with the helicarriers? That's they blew up the thing.
That's right.
Yeah. Meteors. Sorry, I can't
Continue.
do an Ultron.
Walker.
He starts going on about how she is trying to steal from these things. Like, what's that all about? And then next thing you see,
Taskmaster.
starts shooting at Walker while Walker is still trying to shoot at Yelena. And Ghost shows up. Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, who we haven't seen since Ant-Man and the Wasp. She is also working as a mercenary, but her suit looks sick.
I mean, it looked cool the first time around.
Yeah, but her new
Looks
one,
better.
it's like black with like a full white helmet. There's no hood or whatever. It's still very similar. It's got the red lights, but rather than being up here on the side,
Okay.
yeah, she looks dope.
Sweet.
And she starts fighting Taskmaster, and then while like Walker throws something, because he's got the serum now, he's a super soldier strength. He throws a table at Yelena. She slams into this other like big box. You hear a beep, and you see there's like an outline of a person on the side. That's like all you get, and then like they're still fighting. Yelena tries to calm things down because she realizes like something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I was told the same thing you were all told. They're like figuring things out, and then bam! Ghost shoots Taskmaster in the forehead.
That's what. Yeah.
she's like, well, like you see her raising a gun at Walker and like slowly walking towards him, and then all of a sudden you just see it appear, and then Ghost is right in front of her. Really cool looking thing, but like in the marketing, when they first did the first round of marketing for the Thunderbolts, the first thing they had Taskmaster in it and stuff, and then the next one that came out not too long after, Taskmaster was nowhere to be found, and everyone immediately was like, they're gonna kill Taskmaster. They're going to kill Taskmaster in this movie. I wonder how they're gonna do it, because no one was complaining that was happening, because everyone complained about Taskmaster's existence anyway.
Yeah, everyone hated Taskmaster.
Yeah, it was just
So
like
now they can
an
bring
idea
in the
on how to do
actual
it.
Taskmaster.
I don't know if they're going to. I hope they bring it back, because Taskmaster's dope.
He's a cool character. Yeah.
But anyway, then after Taskmaster is dead on the floor, then they stop fighting, and they're all trying to just figure things out, what's going on, and then Bob,
From Top Gun.
yeah, Bill Pullman's the president of the United States in Independence Day. He had a son, and he's Sentry.
Also, yeah. I like him as an actor, by the
Yeah,
way.
he's fun. He's really good. I am doing the one thing I said I shouldn't do.
That's okay.
But broadly, now at this point, they have to start working together. Like DeFontaine tries to incinerate all of them, but they escape. They realize that they've gotten a hit put out on them because they're the last of the evidence.
So did she
DeFontaine
she sent them all there so they could all just kill each other?
Yes, because they technically were evidence
Right.
that she was trying to get rid of.
Yeah.
So her whole miniature army all shows up at the front of this vault. They all plan on how to take him out. There's a very funny scene of how they get up the elevator shaft, where like Walker tries to jump, but he doesn't make it all the way up. Lands hard on his back. He's being very mean to Bob the whole time, because he's just being very like inquisitive. Like, who are you? Where'd you come from?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you here if you don't know, or whatever? And he's just being very, timid, but like he doesn't appreciate how Captain America is being very mean.
Mm-hmm.
But like Elena forms a pretty good connection with him, and that's very important for later.
Mm-hmm.
How like
Unfortunately, I've had about all of this movie spoiled for me.
Yeah, well,
I'm
that's
on
good,
social
because I'm
media.
doing it anyway.
Well,
Round 2.
yeah, this is much better than
Call
watching
back
it
to Karate Kid.
in clips.
Sorry, I haven't even seen Karate Kid. I don't know why I did that. They start escaping. They, knock out one of the squads that try to infiltrate the vault. They, take their clothes, pretend to be guards, are dragging out a wounded soldier out. They try to like take a truck and say like, "Hey, we got to take this guy to the hospital." Walker's the one who's like, "Let me do the talking," and doesn't go too well. "Let me see your ID." No. But then, like, they hear gunshots firing and they don't know what's going on. Ghost phases into the back of the truck and they realize Bob's not there anymore. And they look out and they see that Bob is just firing a gun into the air, like right in front of the vault. Like, "Hey, over here."
Oh, and is that when
Then
they
the
all light
trailer
him up?
shot, they just fire tons at him. And then DeFontaine is like, stop, because she realized through her assistant who this guy was, because they had like live camera feed while they were still in the vault, and they're like, "Who is this guy?" Figure out who it is. Her assistant finds out, says like, "Oh, from the Sentry program that failed, that like lots of people died from,
Mm-hmm.
this guy." And so she realized how valuable of an asset he is.
Mm-hmm.
They start lighting him up. Stop. But then like he's on the ground. The rest of them that are in the truck are like, "Well, we just got to go." They leave. And then you cut back over and you see Bob get up, shirt shredded,
Mm-hmm.
his eyes like, Sith turn a little yellow. And he just starts floating and he just launches. He just literally like a missile, just straight up, and they're all, what's going on? They're driving away. They see in the truck, he starts falling back down. Oh man. Cut. They're walking away in the desert. They're in the desert. Alexei shows up in his limo because he was the limo driver for DeFontaine and overheard what they were doing, and he knew from what Yelena had said where they were in that, talking about her. Picks her up, starts driving away. His limo can only go like 56 miles an hour. A convoy shows up behind him, starts shooting at him, and then Bucky. It's Bucky. They see one of the convoys shooting at him. Like they don't know what's going on.
Is
like,
that Bucky?
Like Alexei says that his limo's bulletproof. Window shatters. I thought you said this was bulletproof. Bulletproof-ish. And then he takes a bottle of vodka from the car, makes a Molotov cocktail, chucks it, fire, spreads across the front of the dashboard. He's laughing, and then it goes away. Oh, starts shooting again. Yelena's tired of all of this. So she just leans out of the window with the gun. As soon as she fires, the whole thing blows up, and they're like, what happened? And that's where Bucky shows up. And this is the part that I really want to say. They finally gave Bucky a theme that wasn't the most terrifying thing you'd ever heard, like they had with The Winter Soldier. The music for this movie was great. I can't even remember the name of the composer, but he rocked it. He did a great job. All of them are happy. It's Bucky. Bucky then fires the same magnetic mine under the limo, and they flip over, and Bucky takes them all to this rundown like warehouse that's just in the middle of nowhere. Makes a call. They're trying to tell him, hey, there's this Bob guy. We need him. We need to go get him. We need to save him, whatever. He doesn't believe him. Then he gets a call informing him about Bob. All of them. Bob. Alexei is trying to say that they all need to be a team. None of them want to be a team because they're all just individual mercenaries. And then Bucky, once he realizes that they're telling the truth and that something is seriously wrong, that's kind of where the, initially him being...
So why does he blow them up?
Because he needs them for the impeachment. There was an emergency impeachment meeting that was about to happen because Bucky, I guess I forgot to mention this, but the assistant, DeFontaine's assistant, knows that DeFontaine is a seriously bad person and that she needs to be,
locked up.
Yeah. So she calls Bucky. Bucky then goes to Utah. I should have mentioned.
Well, because I've only seen the trailers, and so that makes it seem like Bucky is working against them, but then all of a sudden he's on their team. So
he goes because he needs them, but then he realizes that this takes precedence. So he says that they need to be a team, and that's where the trailer shot of Alexei going, yes, because he wanted them to be a team so bad. This is where the name Thunderbolts comes from, and I think that the way they introduced that name is so funny. It is so funny because all of them are talking. I guess this is still while they're in the limo.
Does this take place after Captain America: Brave New World?
Yes. Okay. That's why Bucky is in Congress.
Well, I know that. I was just trying to figure out the timeline between them.
And new president.
Okay.
And we never actually see in this movie.
That's fair.
Not important. Where was it? Yeah. The Thunderbolts was the name of Yelena's Pee Wee soccer team. Oh. Because they were all telling embarrassing stories that had happened to them in the past. This Pee Wee soccer team didn't win a single game. And one time, one of the girls on the team pooped in the middle of the field in the middle of the game. And they all thought that was very funny. And so they all just started being called the Thunderbolts. based just solely
That's-
off of Yelena's Pee Wee
Well,
soccer
because
team.
I know that people had concerns because isn't in the comics, aren't they named after Thunderbolt Ross?
I can't remember.
Because
Probably,
I
'cause
know a
it
lot of
was-
people on the internet were like,
The Red Hulk on?
I
The
think
team?
so. I think
That's-
so. And so people were like, well, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think it's a fun retcon that they did, and it was
Mhm.
good. I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But they go to New York
Mm-hmm.
because that's where DeFontaine took Bob. She tries to be all motherly and tell him about how he's special and like the reason that he went to this experimental program while he was in Eastern Europe was because he feels really lost and he has like serious depression
Mm-hmm.
and he like
Doesn't he have multi-personality disorder?
not necessarily.
Oh.
It's just like he is so like in himself thinking that he's not worthy of love of anything, that no one likes him, no one cares about him, no one wants to be around him. That when he's feeling that, it's when he's in the void.
Right. Okay.
Elena brings up that term, and I actually really like that they because in the comics it's definitely like split personality.
Right.
It's literally two different individuals.
Right. Well,
But in
because
this
in
one-
the comics, he doesn't he actually have like multi-personality, like split
Yeah,
personalities.
But with this one, like Elena, they're talking about how it feels to be at your lowest.
Mm-hmm.
And Elena, like, it feels like you're a void. And so they never explicitly call the void, the character void, the void.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just their way of acknowledging what it is.
That it's okay.
And part of Sentry's powers is like with like I guess more like the void's power is like when he makes like skin contact with people, they essentially they get transported into like their worst memories.
Mm-hmm.
Yelena experiences like one of her first missions as a widow when she's just a little girl and she has to get one of her best friends killed. And so Yelena has to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Walker, when he grabs Bob's hand, he sees like the final argument he had with his wife before they split.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is that when they turn? Is that like when they turn into weird shadows?
no,
Oh.
this is just like when he makes skin contact, when he had grabbed their hands.
Oh.
And when they're in New York, DeFontaine had like successfully kind of brainwashed him, pretty much made him think to himself that he was a god. He could not be stopped because he was essentially the power sets of 6 Avengers in one.
Mm-hmm.
And they get into an altercation with the Thunderbolts, and they can literally do nothing
Mm-hmm.
about it. They can't fight him.
Yeah.
They can't hurt him.
That's when Alexi gets thrown out the
He gets
window.
thrown out the window, held there, and then brought back in and slammed into a wall.
And then
Bucky's arm gets torn
yeah,
off.
he gets
He simply just like
bee-slapped.
smacks Yelena aside because he doesn't want to hurt any of them because he bonded with them
mm-hmm.
up
Right.
to this point.
Right.
And so he bends Captain America Walker's shield.
Mm-hmm.
I guess U.S. agent, right? I don't know if they never call him that, but that's his character.
What is his shield made out of?
They don't say, but
Oh,
I would
okay.
assume it's not vibranium by any means.
A lot of
but it
people
is
are saying that they think it's like
bulletproof.
an adamantium
Maybe
like variant.
Sentry bends it
Mm.
into
Taco.
that's what he says. He turned my shield into a flipping taco. And then after that, they all leave. Sentry lets them go.
Mm-hmm.
DeFontaine tells him that he needs to go after and kill them, and he's like, why? Then because you have to do what I say. Why would a god do anything until? And then she's like, you're throwing the word God around pretty loosely. He's like, well, you did say that I was 6 Avengers rolled into one, and one of them is technically a god. So I'm at least part god, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
So was he created in a lab?
yes,
Do they like talk about that? Like
briefly.
when you say 6 Avengers rolled into one, is that like his?
He doesn't have the DNA
Okay.
of like Tony Stark.
Right. Okay.
He's just like
I haven't seen the movie.
The power of him is
The
greater
equivalent.
than Avengers rolled into
Okay.
one individual.
Okay.
Just the experiment that they did.
Okay. Sorry to distract you.
No, it's okay. I need to explain those. He doesn't have Natasha's hair injected in his back. But he was created in the lab that Yelena's at the beginning of the
Okay.
But we don't know that until essentially it's like,
okay.
oh, that's why that guy, the scientist who killed himself, was like saying this is so dangerous. It needs to be stopped or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So Bob starts to kind of threaten DeFontaine.
Mm-hmm.
DeFontaine whips out the kill switch
Mm-hmm.
that they had embedded in every patient in case of this.
Mm-hmm.
He's like choking her on the wall. She goes to push it. He slaps it out, and it goes flying around the floor. And he's about to completely crush her throat, and then you just see his eyes go gray, completely like silvered over, falls to the ground, and you see the assistant with the kill switch. And I want to raise. But then, as they're leaving, you see like shadow kind of going over Sentry's body,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when you know like
It's the Void.
void. And so then comes one of the most heartfelt and like one of my favorite pieces of acting in any Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
After the Thunderbolts walk out, it's after the Thunderbolts walk out of the building in New York, they're discussing what they can do, and Yelena just like kind of snaps. She's like, "We can't do anything. All of us together. What we lost. We cannot do anything against that.
Mm-hmm.
We should all just go home. We should just leave while we can before DeFontaine takes us or kills us or whatever." So she's walking away, and then Alexei tries to follow her because he's her father and all of that, but she brushes him aside, and they all just kind of separate. And then, you have a bit of banter between Walker and Ghost and Bucky, and then it cuts back to Alexei following Yelena, and they're just under an overhang in New York, and he tries to talk to her, and Yelena tries talking, argues, like, "You haven't talked to me in a year," all of this, and he was like, I didn't think you wanted me to. And she's like, I did. I see that now. And then Florence Pugh, beautifully, she just breaks down. She's sobbing. She's like, "Daddy, I'm so alone." This is the first time you hear her say dad, father, anything other than Alexei. "Daddy, I'm so alone. Like, I have no friends. I have no one. All I do is I go to work. I come home and I drink, and then I go to work and I drink." And she's like pouring everything out. And that's when Alexei like really consoles her about like the reason you wanted to play goalie on the soccer team was so that you could be there when everyone else makes mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Aww. And that's when you see like black figure, like it's hard to see him because he's not like just dark. He's literally
like a shadow
flying in the
and
sky.
you see the two little white dots that are his
like,
eyes.
It's just his irises.
Yeah.
His irises are gleaming white because you have to have something to look at. People from DeFontaine's team show up in a helicopter, try shooting at him, doing nothing. So he just reaches his hand out, turns into shadow. Everyone just,
Is that them like dying?
we'll get to that. They
Okay.
they just turn into shadow. Stuff crashes. Helicopters are crashing into these buildings that are around where the Thunderbolts are. Rubble falling everywhere, and then you have a montage of all the Thunderbolts saving all of these people, and it's like really cool because it brings back more of like the team dynamic, how all of them really are, and they're saving people. A big piece of concrete starting to fall on this lady, and Walker's there. He shows up and starts holding it with his back, and then like Bucky shows up and he starts to hold it up, and then Ghost shows up and Lexi shows up, and they push the whole thing
Mm-hmm.
over, and everyone starts clapping, seeing as they saved him. And then like a little girl is in the street, and Alexi goes up to her, and she's like thanking because like a piece of rubble blocked it from killing her, and
Right.
thanking her, and it's like a heartfelt moment. She turns to suddenly, oh my gosh, such a cool piece of writing. She just turns into a smear on
I've seen that one.
Yeah. Whoa, cool. And then they turn around and you see all the shadows just spreading, like all of like this from him in New York is just turning into this pitch black shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they're like rushing everyone to get inside buildings so that like whatever's going on, because you just see these people just being turned into shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Elena goes up, looks at him, goes right up to the edge of the spreading shadow. Alexi's like, "What are you doing? Come back here, Elena." And she just walks in. Lexi goes berserk, but he's got two other super soldiers with better serums holding him back.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do anything. That's when you cut to she's back in the forest she was in at the beginning of the movie, her mission. And last time she got out because she saw Bob was in there with her, and that like jolted her out of it. But this time she's like, Bob, whatever, where are you? She realizes one of the walls, like there's actually a wall in the forest. It's fake, so she busts through it. She's in another bad memory of the widows.
Mm-hmm.
Then she sees like Bob in a reflection in one of the mirrors. She's like, there you are. She whips out a gun, shoots at the mirror, like jumps through. She's just in another room.
Mm-hmm.
And then this happens until she's in a room. She's in like her bathroom at home. She sees herself like passed out with alcohol in her hand. She tries to reach to herself. Then the fake Yelena gets up and starts choking her out with her. And then she sees him in the wall again. She just starts talking to him in the mirror, in the bathroom mirror. And then she turns around. Room that Bob is in, and this is just regular Bob, and we're now in one of his.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear his parents, his like him standing up for his mom being abused, and then you can hear his mom abusing for trying to stand up, and like you can see that he's the way he is because of heavy trauma.
Right.
For being beaten and scolded, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually you get to a point where like Yelena convinces him to try and leave, try and get out of all of these shame rooms. And then you see like the whole room kind of starts like whipping around. A tornado appeared in the room, and everything's starting to like attack them, and like gets to a point where both of them are being choked by one of the curtains. And like they can't do anything. They're about to pass out and or die. And then you just see it gets cut. Ghost appears. Bucky appears. Alexi appears. Walker appears. They all show up in this room because they all kept on pushing through their rooms. They all end up. And eventually they get to a room where the Void is. He's sitting on the table that Bob was experimented on. And then it gets to like a whole like standing up against like,
your demons.
You are not you or whatever. They argue, and then Void throws the rest of them like against walls, like stabbed into the wall, like wrapped around, unable to move, whatever. And then Bob just starts wailing on him, going crazy. And then Yelena, they realize that this is what the Void wants, because you can see shadow creeping up regular Bob. That Void wants him to kind of just become a
A monster.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're yelling at him. Void elongates the room so that he can't hear what they're saying. Eventually, she like they push like her and Alexia are like together,
Mm-hmm.
and so they both push and they get her out, and then she starts very Widow-esque parkour around all of this flying debris and spinning, flipping, whatever. It looks good, and then eventually, like you'd think, leading up to this, like she's gonna like separate them. She's gonna like physically like move or do whatever, but she just comes up and she wraps arms around Bob, like I'm here, and like you can see Bob's like crying while he's just beating him up, and then eventually you see the rest of them getting out of their predicaments and making it, and they're just hugging Bob,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very sweet because eventually he stops beating up and he's just holding their arms and crying, like finally realizes people care about it,
Mm-hmm.
people love him. Cut to the end. He doesn't remember what he was as the Void, what he did. They see DeFontaine on a phone call saying, like, I need an extraction now. They all start, like, Alexia's like, I'm going to kill that woman. They start walking towards her. She, like, goes into this, like, partition, and, like, they all, like, follow her out of there, and all of a sudden you just hear tons of clapping. See the press. There's a podium there, and DeFontaine goes up, and he's like, secretly, this whole time, I've been putting together a team of people, and like they just, you all just witnessed them save the day. I'm pleased to introduce the new Avengers, and they're all
okay.
like, "What's going on?" And then Yelena goes up to her ear. She's like, "We own you now." And then like DeFontaine's face kind of goes stark because like her whole thing was about being controlling
Mm-hmm.
and like being the one in charge, being told that. And then she's like, then it's just a close up on Yelena looking out because like this is finally her. This
Moment.
is her
Mm-hmm.
limelight stuff. And she just like smirks a little. End of the movie.
Hmm.
Barely over 2 hours.
It sounds really good. It makes me very curious. I mean, I know we're running out of time, but it makes me really curious why it didn't make it, because it's currently the lowest grossing movie.
Honestly, I think it's just fatigue,
That's probably
Marvel fatigue.
a good point.
It like made like I think it's barely made 350 million. It's gonna lose a ton of money,
Yeah.
but like I don't think I've seen a movie with this much emotional depth to it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in this way,
In
there's
this-
like a lot of really good Marvel movies have a lot of really good emotion. A lot of them haven't really touched on this since like Iron Man 3.
Like with Tony's.
With his
Yeah.
PTSD and his
Yeah.
depression. Like, so I applaud the writers, the makers of this movie. The end credits scene shows them in the Avengers Tower, and it's all retrofitted. It's all different. They're the new Avengers. They
Mhm.
literally are. And then they get like some notification from Friday. You hear Friday's voice again, saying that like extra dimensional presence detected, and pull up feed, and it's the Fantastic Four rocket ship
Hmm.
entering their atmosphere. That's where that ends. End of.
That sounds really cool. I mean,
Really
again,
liked it.
I haven't watched it.
I highly recommend Thunderbolts.
Yeah, I want to watch it. I highly recommend The Karate Kid. Totally different change of pace, but still good.
We'll exchange. I'm sure Thunderbolts will probably end up on streaming faster than normal,
Yeah.
simply because they pulled it out of theaters like a month and a half.
Yeah,
into
well,
its-
they also probably need to make some money off of it,
Well,
throwing it
which
on
kind of sucks because when I went, full theater.
Really?
Yeah. Not an empty seat, which was kind of surprising to me because it had been over a month since the movie released.
Yeah.
But like, hey,
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's
it made my mom cry.
how you know it's a good movie.
Yep. I won't mention what part.
Was it the end?
No, but that part did make her happy. All right. Well,
Well, it was good. It was fun.
Yeah, I don't know if these cameras are still rolling.
I bet you they're not. That's all right. I was done with them anyways.
Well,
but thanks for tuning in.
Pretend that they are.
Yeah, just picture us in your mind. And we'll
This would
see
be
you.
really funny if they're actually still rolling. Envision us. See my face.
Alrighty. Well,
follow us on our socials. Frame Rate Pod, Frame Rate Podcast.
Comment on our socials.
Like, follow, subscribe.
Hit that bell notification if you want to be notified when we post.
If you don't want to do that, Mondays, times vary.
Oh.
This Monday, only on 8/7 Central, because as kids, we were supposed to know time zones like that.
Yeah, you're like, I got up at 8. It's not playing.
Wait, it's talking about Eastern and Central time. Half the country lives on Pacific. Anyway. This concludes this broadcast of the Frame Rate Podcast. Episode title yet to be determined.
Episode number 13 and a half.
Woo! If you are superstitious about the number 13, it's okay. So many other people who have built buildings are the same.
$14 and a half. No. 12.